feeling you? No. That nigga a munch. Nigga eat it, he ate it for lunch. Bitch, on my body, I get what I want. Like, you thought I was feeling you? No, I was feeling you. That nigga a munch. Nigga eat it, he ate it for lunch. Bitch, on my body, I get what I want.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another stream. I haven't been back in a week. Oh, let me, there we go. It's been a week since I last streamed. What the fuck? Okay, yeah, it is showing it. Why is my phone being so slow? Oh, my phone is like ridiculously like set back. Holy shit. Like, damn, that motherfucker is set back. There we go. Anyways, so as you see right here, I was literally just opening up my webpage. Webpage? Ugh, I'm old saying that. I was opening up my thingy, and I saw this canceled Marvel movies that we'll never get to see. I have a whole list of other things that we're gonna do. I'll try not to make this a long stream like last time. If it does hit it, it does hit it. As you saw by the title, my room is hot as a bitch. Okay, it's hot as a bitch. My room currently is 100 degrees. It was peaking at 102. I don't know about y'all. 102 degrees is ridiculous. And as you see, it says it's 93. And like I told you, my room is 100. So, you do that. And we're just gonna get started with this. All right.
Dozens of Marvel movies released in the last few decades, but there could have been so many more. These are just some of the company's comic book inspired projects that never made it off the ground. Marvel Studios' original post-Avengers Endgame plan was to put all its efforts toward making Kang the Conqueror its next big bad, but that didn't last. Underperforming projects like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
I'm still mad we never got this movie. I don't care. I'm still mad. We lost the movie because of an allegation. And it's like you could have just recasted the character. I'm glad we got Thunderbolts in the end. I'm glad we're gonna get Robert Downey Jr. and all that stuff. Shut that damn dog up. Right? But just know what we could have had, and the fact that you spent years building up to this, and it's like Doctor Doom is gonna come out of nowhere and be like, he's gonna be cool and all, but it's Doctor Doom, not in a disrespectful way, but it's like,
And Kang actor.
Like, we don't really know, like, why should we fear him, blah, blah, blah. And if anything, they're probably going to use Fantastic Four and then the movies in the rest of 2026 leading up to Marvel Doomsday. They're going to use those to build him up, but that's not enough. We've been building up Kang since literally 2021. So for 4 years we was building this guy up, and that's just my thoughts on it.
Jonathan Majors' legal issues pushed the studio in another direction. Robert Downey Jr. is Dr. Doom. Majors was dropped by Marvel Studios, and Phase 6 was entirely restructured to conclude the multiverse saga with different stories and characters.
And you think you can beat me? I am Kang! You talk to ants!
Avengers: The Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, that movie was something. That movie was something.
Would have been released on May 2nd, 2025, but Marvel pushed it to the following year before canceling it outright. With Majors out of the picture, the MCU will adapt different stories centered around Doom, including the comic book series Secret Wars. The fifth Avengers film will be Avengers Doomsday, which will be followed by Avengers Secret Wars. They'll drop on December 18th, 2026 and December 17th, 2027, respectively. Director James Mangold's Logan was a huge hit, and Daphne Keene's performance as Laura...
We're supposed to get an X-23 movie? Damn. That could have been hard. I'm not gonna hold you. That shit could have went hard. Fuck.
Also known as X-23, led fans to expect that she might someday take the lead in a spin-off. After all, Hugh Jackman claimed that he was finished as Wolverine, who had already sacrificed his life to try and save a group of mutant children. Unfortunately, the reality of movie making reared its ugly head, and an X-23 solo film couldn't move forward. Disney's acquisition of Fox killed a lot of projects, including the X-23 spin-off movie. Mangold had signed on as a director and began preparations to bring Keene back for a solo outing, but that only lasted 1 month before the merger made it an impossibility. Fortunately, Keene was able to reprise her role in Deadpool and Wolverine, which left the door open for her to return in the MCU.
I agree, but it's like, if they do, you know, because I'm not an X-23 person. I'll fuck with the character, but I don't know about the character. What are they gonna do? You know, what are they gonna do? What are they going to do? I don't know, in the comics.
Whoever you think I am, you got the wrong guy.
Well, just shout it out. Anybody who's there, whether you're
You were
watching
always the
here
wrong guy.
or
From the unreleased
thinking,
Roger Corman-helmed B movie that was made back in the 90s to the ill-fated
Wow.
Josh Trank-directed flop from 2015, Marvel's
Yeah.
First Family has not had an easy time on the big screen. Their fortunes are likely to change with Fantastic Four First Steps, but it's been
fuck, my bag is too far. I was about to go and show y'all I got a shirt for them. I was gonna get the sweater like with the uniform they wear. I'm like, bro, that's Dick Rider, bro. That's Dick Rider behavior. You know what I'm saying? But I might buy it though. I might buy it. I might buy it though. I might buy it though. It did look clean though. I can't wear it now, obviously. I could wear like, bro, but it's like that's some shit you can't wear naturally though. That's the thing. You can't wear that shit like with like a with like black sweats and instead of big ass 4 right there. If the 4 were like on the sleeve, okay, cool. But it's like it's right there in the chest, like, fuck. Forgot this isn't YouTube.
been a long road to get to the MCU. First
over here
Steps
clicking
comes
the
20
space
years
bar.
after Fox released their first Fantastic Four film in 2005, which made enough money to garner a sequel. That was 2007's Fantastic Four Rise.
I liked both movies, genuinely. So knowing that we could have gotten a third movie, that would have been cool. I wonder who the villain would have been, because they already beat Galactus. So like, who would be next? You know?
To the Silver Surfer, and the plan was originally to follow that up with a third installment. Unfortunately, Rise of the Silver Surfer didn't do as well as the first Fantastic Four, earning around $30 million less at the global box office despite its increased budget. The threequel was
Damn.
canceled, and while Fox never explained why that decision was made,
Oh yeah, didn't Doom survive? I think so.
diminishing box office returns were likely the main factor. Sony worked hard to develop a Sinister Six
Central System movie. Wait a minute, what? Hold on. I'm thinking something about Amazing Spider-Man 3. Hold up.
franchise, piggybacking off of its two The Amazing Spider-Man movies starring Andrew Garfield. The plan was to build off the success of those movies to launch a massive project with a half-dozen iconic supervillains directed by Drew Goddard, but it was canceled before it could
Look at this nasty fucking freak. Look at him. Yeah, put a mask on. Freak. Fucking look like Gollum. Ass nigga.
take off.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. That's just not the answer we were looking for.
The idea was to release the movie in
Doc Ock.
2016,
The
but
Vulture.
it was canceled for two primary reasons. The underperformance
The
of The
Rhino.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, which teased a Sinister Six movie,
That's
and
only
Sony's
4.
complex contract with Marvel about Spider-Man and his associated characters. Sony ultimately agreed to allow Marvel Studios to use
So basically, it's Sony's fault is what I'm hearing, because Sony's always at fault whenever something cool could happen with Spider-Man. That's basically what I heard, ladies and gentlemen.
Spider-Man and Captain America Civil War and further MCU projects, which sealed the fate to the Amazing Spider-Man film franchise. The subsequent failures that were Morbius, Madam Web, and Kraven the Hunter have killed
I don't know how the fuck you make a Spider-Man centered universe and none of these niggas interact with Spider-Man. Like, Morbius don't interact with Spider-Man. Madam Web interacts with Spider-Man because Peter's being born, but they refuse to say the fucker's name. And then Kraven,
killed any lingering hopes that Goddard's Sinister Six might be resurrected. The Marvel Cinematic Universe launched in May 2008 with Iron Man, and The
didn't know
Incredible Hulk
this.
hit theaters 6 weeks later.
I did not know
By
this.
2013, Iron Man had 2 sequels, but The Incredible Hulk had none. That wasn't all. Mark Ruffalo
Man, fuck this bitch. Fuck this nigga.
had replaced Edward Norton as Bruce Banner,
Bring back Edward Norton.
reportedly due to Norton's behavior. Initially,
I don't give a fuck. Bring the nigga back.
a follow-up was in the works, but the situation became
Look, this is what happened. Look. Oh my gosh. This would have never happened to Edward Norton. Would have never happened to him.
Hulk had none.
Just
that wasn't
saying.
all. Mark Ruffalo had replaced Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, reportedly due to Norton's behavior. Initially, a follow-up was in the works, but the situation became complicated because of the incredibly
gosh.
complex contract between Universal and Marvel regarding Hulk's movie rights. While Ruffalo's version of Bruce Banner has appeared in several MCU movies, if Marvel Studios were to put the word Hulk in the title of a movie, they would be legally obligated to split the box office with Universal. According to Ruffalo,
So, because Disney didn't want to split money. Okay.
that's why another Hulk solo film has been derailed. Speaking to Variety, he said, "A standalone Hulk movie will never happen because Universal has the rights to the Hulk standalone movie and they don't know how to play nice with Marvel, and they don't want to make money." Ben Affleck's turn as Matt Murdock and his costume counterpart
Oh, yeah, I'm glad we didn't get this shit. Thank God. Thank God, man. What the fuck is this, bro? Nigga got a pop-up collar.
in Daredevil wasn't well received when the film was released in 2003. Despite this, the spin-off Elektra
Who is this actress again?
got the green light, leading Jennifer Garner to reprise her
Oh, Jennifer Garner. I think I've heard of her. I think I've heard of her before.
role as the deadly assassin. The plan was to release Elektra, let that character have her moment in the sun, and then Daredevil 2 would get the go-ahead from 20th Century Fox. Unfortunately, Elektra utterly bombed financially and critically.
You're holding back.
Yes.
Stop.
I forgot how trendy these movies used to be. It's such a like that at this point in time we had like we had Spider-Man. It's just so mind fucking, you know?
As a result, plans for a Daredevil
What?
sequel were dropped by the studio, and Ben Affleck's Daredevil 2 was never made. The character would continue in live action via his
Thank
Netflix
God.
series that ultimately led to Daredevil Born Again in the MCU, with Charlie
Thank
Cox
God.
making the role his own. Daredevil director Mark Steven Johnson told Yahoo Entertainment that the sequel would have focused on Matt's romance with Karen Page, and that Ellen Pompeo would have reprised her role from the first film.
Who is she? Who's she?
In between the releases of Reservoir Dogs and Pulp
Quentin Tarantino's Luke Cage.
Fiction, Quentin Tarantino began development on a Luke Cage movie. In 2020, the director dropped a few details about his plans for the movie, indicating that he wanted to make the film with Lawrence Fishburne as the hero for hire. Tarantino spoke about the project during an appearance on Amy Schumer's Three Girls, One Keith podcast, saying, "Growing up, I was a big comic book collector, and my 2 favorite comic books were Luke Cage Hero for Hire, later Luke Cage Power Man, and Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu. I also liked
was Shang-Chi
Werewolf
gonna
by
be a part of
Night. That was a great one. And Tomb of Dracula was great, but my absolute hero was Luke Cage." Tarantino opted not to pursue the project further after discussing it with his comic book-loving friends, who tried to convince him to cast Wesley Snipes instead of Fishburne, since the former was in better shape. He quipped, and I go, "Look, I like Wesley Snipes, but Larry Fishburne is practically Marlon Brando." 2015's Fantastic Four suffered through a problematic production, studio-mandated
That's how the wow. That's how the thing looks. Keep in mind, I've never seen this movie. To this day, I've never seen this movie. What's it been, 10 years? Never seen the movie, and I haven't seen this guy ever since. I think. I don't know. I watch a lot of movies, guys.
reshoots, and director Josh Trank lashing out online after seeing the final cut.
Fuck is this, man? Fuck is this? Look at his teeth. Look at him. Look at his fucking teeth.
Before the movie began filming, Fox told the world it would produce a sequel scheduled to hit theaters on June 8, 2017. It's not uncommon for studios to plan for success and establish a framework for a sequel, but Fox jumped the gun in this case because that movie never manifested. The terrible box office performance and near universal critical derision of Fantastic Four made the sequel a non-starter.
Strap in and get comfy.
Was that Doom? Why does Doom look like a damn Doom bot? Hmm.
Kids, we're about to make history.
That's just
Yeah, or die. Either or.
Fox pulled the project from its schedule in November 2015, and the movie rights for Marvel's First Family returned home when Disney purchased 20th Century Fox in March 2019. The following year, Trank admitted that the film was an expensive miscalculation in an interview.
like, bro, I swear to you, if this is supposed to be Doom, I'm gonna be pissed off. 'Cause if not, I don't know who the fuck this is supposed to be.
With Den of Geek, adding, "Was it too ambitious for me to impose such
This nigga don't wear clothes. This nigga, this piece of look at his fucking face. Look at his face.
a personal take on the Fantastic Four?" My answer is simply yes, it was. But how would I have known unless I had taken that swing for the fences?
Yeah, I was supposed to be Doom.
The Hulk has long been a popular
The She-Hulk show was trash. This is not.
character, and his cousin Jennifer Walters, better known as She-Hulk, also enjoyed impressive fan engagement in the 1980s and 90s. To capitalize on that, plans were put into motion to give the character a feature film helmed by the horror and sci-fi director Larry Cohen. While the 90s She-Hulk movie
Interesting.
was scrapped, it got far enough in the development process that an array of marketing materials were created. Brigitte Nielsen was cast as Jennifer
Who the fuck is it?
Walters, aka She-Hulk, and she received a full makeup and wardrobe fitting for promotional photographs. The plan was to entice investors to the project to fund the movie, but they never arrived.
Yeah, Tatiana Maslany? Yeah, bro. Never join the MCU ever again. Your character was trash. You couldn't take criticism. Shit was buns. Everyone only watched your show because it was waiting for Daredevil. Nobody with two functioning brain cells will look you in your eyes and tell you, yes, this show was good from top to bottom. Abomination was done dirty. Fucking Wong was just, yeah. The three best parts of your show. Wong. What's her name? I forgot the drunk girl's name, but that girl that ends with Wong, right? So her, and then Daredevil. I lied. 4. The best thing about the show was the fact that it's done. It's done. There's no season 2. There's no hopes for a season 2. That's the best thing. That's the top of the list. Top. Show was buns. It'll always be buns. Buns. Okay? Buns. A show meant to piss off men. It pissed off women too. You failed. The show was buns. Marvel, the show was buns. Kevin Feige, the show was buns. Kevin Feige, why'd you greenlight this? Why'd you let it go? Sort of yanked it away, redid it. Buns. Dog shit, dog water. So far, it's the only one I could blame on you. Everything else was external factors. That's why I'm blaming on you. The show, guess what? It was buns. BUNS. BUNZ. Buns. Buns. All right? I've never felt so disrespected as a Marvel fan in my life because holy cow, was this show just so goddamn trash. It was so trash. And it was so trash that it kept me awake in class thinking about how trash this shit was. And I was waking up at 5 in the morning to go to school. I get to school, I meet my homie. I'm like, I'm like, it can't be bad. It can't be worse than last week. I watch it. It's bad. I'm in class. I'm not even fighting sleep. I'm awake, thinking about how bad it was. It was awful, terrible. Never do this again. Never, never do this again. It was bad. B-A-D. Bad. Hell no. All right. To quote Michael Jackson, quote Billy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, you ain't bad. You ain't nothing. 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 It was just, it was
Investor
what are we talking about again? Oh, right, the She-Hulk movie, right.
hesitation possibly stemmed from the terrible performances of 1989's
What the fuck? Nigga. No. Nope. What the fuck is going on? Hello? What the hell?
Punisher starring
There we go. So weird. So weird.
Dolph Lundgren and the famously
There was a Punisher movie? And it failed? How do you make a Punisher movie fail? No, let's talk about that. All the Punisher does is boom niggas. How do you make a movie that fails about booming niggas? Granted, I know there's other complexities to his character and all that stuff. But once again, how do you fail making a movie about booming niggas? I don't know. 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 I don't know.
the awful Albert Pune directed Captain America from 1990.
Same thing, Captain America. How do you fail it? He's a white, blonde hair, blue-eyed American dude who beats up ZZs, and he's everything that represents the red, white, and the gosh darn blue. How do you make a movie that fails? I don't know. Especially way back when people were a lot more patriotic. How do you fail? I don't know. You gotta be a special kind of trash to make a Captain America movie fail. A special kind. Absolutely special. Like, special.
The Silver Surfer has been popular since his introduction in
We're supposed to get a Silver Surfer movie? J. Michael Strat. Yeah, man. You wasn't gonna get this shit, bro. I ain't recording that shit, bro. Mr. Michael S.
the 1960s, and while he's appeared in animation, it wasn't until 2007 that he found his way to the big screen. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer ended in such a way as to tease a potential Silver Surfer spin-off film, and one was indeed in the works, with famed comic book scribe J. Michael Straczynski joining the project as its writer. Straczynski planned to pick up the story immediately after the end of Rise of the Silver Surfer. He wrote a script, and the wheels were firmly
Hey, Silver Surfer was cold as fuck in this movie, man. Not gonna lie, young me, I hated this nigga, bro. This nigga did my Giants from so dirty. But grown me, still hate this nigga. Nigga did my nigga Giants from hella dirty, bro. But I rock with you, though. Still fuck you, though.
in motion, but the sequel's underperformance at the box office put the franchise's future into question. Not long after its release, 20th Century Fox killed all hopes of a Silver Surfer movie alongside their proper threequel, The Fantastic Four.
This is the end.
Oh, yeah. I see why. Cause like, what the fuck is that, bro? You make Galactus a motherfucking cloud. This nigga's a dust storm. The great dust bowl known as Galactus. Speaking of Galactus, do they have the bucket? Do they have the bucket on sale? Let's check that out right now, guys. And there goes my bottle. The fuck, nigga. Galactus popcorn bucket. Thank you very much. Thank you. Fucking hell, it's not out yet, man. Damn. Best believe, ladies and gentlemen, I will be there to get it. Oh, that's adorable. What popcorn buckets they got? See, I want to buy this. Ooh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. You don't. Damn. Oh, man, you ain't nothing, bro. You just. I thought it was some cool shit. It's a 10 bucket. That's why. I low key. I can't use that for nothing. Let me not lie. Like euros, like you're a light up bucket. Sure, whatever. What the hell's going on with my thing? Like, this is cool. That's cool, but not for 50 though. Huh. The hell. Oh well. Anyways, back to our thing. I have it over here for just in case my phone tweaks out like last time. I've learned my lesson, ladies and gentlemen. I've learned my lesson.
Dr. Doom has long been a fan.
We could have got a Dr. Doom movie. But with that, he's not a trash actor, but with trash story they gave Dr. Doom, I'm glad we don't get a movie. I'm glad we did
Favorite
not get a
villain,
movie.
and he's not far behind whenever the Fantastic Four show up on the big screen. While he's never had his own film, one was planned with director Noah Hawley.
Oh, what is this? What is this? What? What kind of BDSM shit is this? No. No one of the fucking movie fan. Who the fuck is this? This ain't Dr. Doom. This is not Dr. Doom. This is Dr. Slightly infuriating. Slightly annoying. What? No. I'm not watching this. I'm not watching this. What? We see concept art. Do we have concept art of what he was supposed to look like? Dr. Doom 2015 concept art. I don't give a fuck about Robert Downey Jr., nigga. Talking about this whoever the fuck this guy was. Images. You all look like MCU. I mean, it's cool. It's not Doctor Doom. It's cool though. It's cool than what the fuck we got. This shit wouldn't be bad either. I'm not gonna lie. That would not be bad. Imagine I go to Anime NYC dress up as that. Hell no, I'm gonna be freaking hot as hell. But what the fuck is this piece of shit though? Look. Just piss me off staring at it. Fuck. What? Damn.
Who announced the project at San Diego Comic-Con in 2017. Hawley developed the story, but he didn't.
What the fuck? Dr. Doom was not fucking with how I was talking about him. He wasn't rocking with it. Anyways, let's continue our impromptu thing because I really didn't have this on my list. I had other shit on my list. I'll show you my list when we're done with this. Wow.
On the big screen.
9 minutes.
While he's never had his own film, one was planned with director Noah.
Skip that, bro.
Changes on the horizon. Hawley stated that while he was happily working away on the project, Fox's potential acquisition by
Is this not Foggy? Foggy Nelson? Like, older?
Disney could upset his plans. As it happened, Hawley saw the writing on the wall because the film never manifested. By 2019, Hawley had completed his script and was waiting for a call from Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige that never came. During an appearance at South by Southwest that same year, Hawley said, "I would love to make it. Marvel, they've got a 25,000-year plan. I just don't know if I fit into there." Ant-Man arrived on the silver screen in 2015, but what hit
Edgar Wright. Who the fuck is that?
theaters wasn't the original plan. Initially, director Edgar Wright was hired to direct and co-write Ant-Man alongside fellow screenwriter Joe Cornish. They worked on the script on and off for approximately 8 years, but between the time they were hired and when Ant-Man entered production, the superhero movie landscape
8 years? Y'all some slacking ass niggas. I'm not gonna some slackers.
evolved. The MCU became a media juggernaut and the most successful film franchise of all time, leading Wright and Cornish
If it was 2015, that's when Ant-Man came out, right? I think it came out 2015. Yeah, so then. I mean, they started writing that bitch in not 05, 07. That's some lying ass niggas, bro. Unless it was 2018. No, it wasn't 2018. Yeah, it had to be 2015.
to leave the
I don't
project.
know.
They planned on making a standalone film without the wider MCU as a consideration, but that wasn't how the studio wanted to proceed. In a 2017 interview, Wright told Variety, "I wanted to make a Marvel movie, but I don't think they really wanted to make an Edgar Wright movie."
Why don't you pick on someone your own size?
Namor found his way into the Marvel Cinematic Universe via
Oh, yes. Namor. Namor. Ow! Me, dude. Pulled on one of my fucking pieces of hair, man. Damn. You know how painful that son of a bitch is? There we go.
"2022's Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, but he nearly landed a solo movie decades earlier. Namor is one of Marvel's oldest characters, even predating the company itself. His early escapades were
And you never got a movie to yourself, nigga? Your buns. Your buns. The fuck? Your buns. Kidding. No, he's not. Yes, he is.
were published by its predecessor, Timely Comics.
They popping on fireworks and shit. 4th of July is not for another week. But I won't lie. It does look beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. It does look beautiful.
An attempt was made to adapt this story into a feature film in 2004 with Chris Columbus of Home Alone fame hired to direct the script written by David Self. The proposed film from Universal Pictures would have been titled Submariner, but that's all we know. Specific plot details are unknown. Columbus revealed that he had exited the project in 2005 while promoting his adaptation of Rent. It's unclear why, but after Columbus walked, the studio abandoned plans to adapt Namor for the silver screen. Venom has always been a popular character, with a fandom that stretches back to long before he landed a trilogy that ran from 2018 to 2024. While those films were successful for Sony, the character was first supposed to get a film in the 1990s. Writer-director David S. Goyer, who would later write Blade and other comic book films, penned a screenplay for a Venom standalone film for New Line Cinema, which owned the film rights at the time. This would have given Venom a movie before Spider-Man arrived in 2002, but that didn't happen. Goyer's script adapted several stories, including Venom Carnage Unleashed and the Planets of the Symbiotes event for his 1997 screenplay. Given the time period and the state of CGI in the 90s, it likely would have been difficult to produce. Ultimately, it didn't matter because New Line passed on Goyer's screenplay and sold the film rights to Sony.
We are Venom.
2011's X-Men First Class was a success for Fox, ensuring a sequel would follow.
It should have gotten a sequel. I'm not gonna hold you. It should have gotten a sequel. It really fucking should have, though. I'm not gonna hold you. This motherfucker should have got a goddamn sequel.
Vaughn directed the first outing of the younger team, and he was committed to working on the next movie. What followed was X-Men Days of Future Past. But
bro, Days of Future Past, bro. Bro, did them niggas dirty. Them mutants got done dirty.
Vaughn was absent, with Bryan Singer directing that film and its sequel. Still, Vaughn had plans for his own movie that was never produced. In 2019, the director spoke with Coming Soon and revealed what he'd planned. His idea was to do a young Wolverine movie set in the 1970s, and the characters introduced in First Class would be involved. He also had a plan for another sequel, which would have adapted Days of Future Past with all the characters he brought to life in the preceding two films. Vaughn walked from the project because, as he put it, Fox didn't listen to me. Shang-Chi found its way into the MCU in 2021, but plans to adapt him date back decades.
Shang-Chi, that movie was gold. Just, fell victim to the typical Marvel ending, with the, with the extras, the extras, and the extras. No, I took it off the thing. Ah, shit, I didn't mean to do that.
Stephen Norrington, director of Blade, began working on an adaptation of the character in 2001. While he was interested in directing a Shang-Chi film, known as The Hands of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, another comic book adaptation came first, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Norrington reportedly had such a difficult time making The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen that he retired from directing once it was complete. After he left Shang-Chi, writer Bruce McKenna came on to develop a script, while Yen Wu-ping, known for his choreography on the Matrix films and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, was tasked to direct. Ang Lee came on as producer in 2004, but before the film could come to fruition, the film rights reverted back to Marvel and killed the project. Thomas Jane plays the iconic anti-hero in 2004's The Punisher, starring opposite John Travolta as the murderous mob boss Howard Saint. A sequel entered development with Jane attached, but he decided to leave the project due to disagreements over who should direct. For a time, Rob Zombie was a possible contender to helm the follow-up, which Jane was interested in, but that eventually fell through. Jane felt they had found the right man for the job when the Warriors director Walter Hill entered the picture, but Marvel didn't agree, as he explained during an appearance at Fanboy Expo Knoxville. They ended up saying no to Walter Hill for reasons that are beyond my ability to comprehend. That's when I said, if you're not going to make the perfect Punisher film with the perfect guy, then who else do you got? They floated another director who hadn't really done anything in that ballpark, and so that's when I had to pull out.
Vaya con Dios, Castle. Go with God.
God's gonna sit this one out.
Iron Fist was adapted into a Netflix series at under.
Oh my god, this shit was so trash. Oh, it was so trash. Oh, it was so gosh darn trash.
Underperformed, but plans were in the works to make a movie much earlier. In 2001, Marvel hired director Kirk Wong to develop an Iron Fist film with Ray Park, the actor best known for portraying Star Wars villain Darth Maul, as the movie's lead. The Incredible Hulk writer John Turman wrote the script, and production was planned to start early the following year. Both Marvel and Wong appeared to be deeply engaged in bringing Iron Fist to the silver screen, but it didn't happen. Pre-production stalled and principal photography never took place. The culprit was the film rights, which Artisan Entertainment held. Lionsgate bought the studio, killing all Marvel collaborations in the works, including Iron Fist. Silver Sable and Black Cat are important Spider-Man characters, and Sony planned on bringing them to the big screen in a team-up film. It entered the development process sometime after the release of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 2014, which introduced Felicia Hardy, Black Cat's secret identity. Production on the film, under the working title Tri-Border, was set to commence in March 2018, with the bulk of the shoot scheduled to take place in Atlanta. According to early reports, the plot involves Silver Sable working for the government as a bounty hunter on the trail of Black Cat, a top-end burglar. Love and Basketball director Gina Prince Bythewood was set to helm the project, with Sony giving the film
Love and Basketball. Nigga, this is Spider-Man. Nigga that developed a Love and Basketball. If you ain't guessing what I see, know how to do the damn job, bro. Keep in mind, I've never seen Love and Basketball. I'm just gonna piss off the name. Forgot, it's not YouTube.
A release date to February 8, 2019. Unfortunately, Silver and Black stalled, and Prince Bythewood left to direct another film. Sony canceled the team up before killing its spin-offs entirely. Marvel Studios announced that Mahershala Ali was
Don't piss me off, or don't fucking piss me off with this shit. All right, just don't.
Between Marvel and Casablanca Records in the late 70s, with both parties hoping to take advantage of the disco boom. This version never came to fruition, and the version of the character we know today debuted in 1980's Uncanny X-Men number 130. Bo Derek was big at the time thanks to the 1979 hit 10, so she was sought for the lead role. Marvel Comics editor-in-chief Jim Shooter drafted a treatment and a meeting with Derek that ended with her signing on to play the lead, starting a bidding war among studios interested in backing the project. Marvel hired Leslie Stevens to adapt the treatment, which Shooter claimed was absolutely terrible. As studios vied for the film, Derek insisted that her husband John Derek be hired to direct. Every single bidder withdrew their offer as a result, which let Derek out of the deal. An attempt was
all because this woman wanna fucking put her man on the job, bro. You could have made bang. Probably. Hopefully. Maybe. But no, you want your man to be the director. Nigga was just like, him? Thank you. No thanks. Egotistical.
was made to bring Daryl Hannah on for the lead, but no studio wanted to finance the project. Before Sony released 2018's Venom, the character was going to appear alongside Carnage on the big screen with Josh Trank as director. During an interview with comicbook.com, Trank revealed that Sony approached him about doing something together after his directorial debut Chronicle became a hit, with executive Amy Pascal suggesting Venom. He said, "I'm a huge fan of Todd McFarlane in general, and Venom was just a character I've always loved. I immediately thought about The Mask. This could be like a really cool synthesis of everything about The Mask that I love, but infused into the
I've still never seen The Mask to this day. I ain't never seen it.
Lore of this iconic Marvel character." Trank's friend Robert Siegel came on board to help with the script, and they were off to the races, as Trank put it. However, the wheels fell off when Trank and Siegel's plan for an R-rated flick made Sony flinch. The director continued, "I thought
It's literally fucking Carnage. I don't know why you put Carnage in a damn PG fucking movie, but yeah.
this was an opportunity to make something really charactery, uncomfortable, and break ground in terms of having this super nuanced, uncomfortable character story with the branding of a massive 4-quadrant superhero film." The studio passed on Trank and ultimately hired Ruben Fleischer to direct Venom, with Tom Hardy in the lead role. Spider-Man 2099 made his movie debut in the post-credit scene of 2018's
Movie with him, like a solo live-action movie with like Oscar Isaac playing. I don't know, but Oscar Isaac is playing Moon Knight. Fuck. I don't know. I can't see nobody else as him.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, before debuting properly in 2023's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But he's yet to appear in live action. Sony had a plan to make such a feature film, which was revealed when the studio's emails were hacked and leaked in 2014. In those emails, talk of a so-called Spider Division within the company was discovered. And one of the plans over the next 5 years was to make a Spider-Man 2099 film. Miguel O'Hara would have gone up against the evil corporation Alchemax, but an overarching villain was still being decided upon. Morlun and Kron Stone were both under consideration, and had gone into production as planned. Sony
I feel like, hold on.
being decided upon. Morlun
I feel like where the fuck this is would have been cool, because I feel like you could be like, a third act, like not third, like a sequel big bad, or like the ultimate big bad. I feel like where the fuck this is. You could have been cool.
Morlun and Kron Stone were both under consideration, and had gone into production as planned. Sony would have released Spider-Man 2099 sometime in 2017.
We all want to live the life we wish we had. Believe me, I have tried.
Long before Hugh Jackman landed the role he's best known for, an X-Men adaptation with Bob Hoskins as Wolverine and Angela Bassett in the role of Storm.
Angela Bassett?
Development began in the late 1980s with Catherine Bigelow as director. Chris Claremont, widely considered to be one of the best X-Men scribes, wanted James Cameron to produce, so Claremont and Stan Lee pitched their idea to Cameron's Lightstorm Entertainment. During that meeting, Lee derailed things by asking Cameron about his love of Spidey, and his interest shifted to his failed Spider-Man project. Bigelow continued working on the X-Men idea, but the damage had been done. Claremont told The Wrap, "Catherine goes off and writes a screen treatment for X-Men that was eaten alive by all the idiots who have a piece of Spider-Man because Marvel, during its evolution, had sold off the rights time and time and time again. To Carol Co., to Universal, to this, to that, to Fox. It was just a nightmare." When it comes to Marvel Comics characters, Mort Graves is definitely on the obscure side. Despite this, Marvel has been trying to adapt his miniseries Mort the Dead Teenager into a feature film for years, going back to the 1990s and into the early 2000s. Not only was a Mort project in the works, but Steven Spielberg and Quentin Tarantino were both involved. While they brought the clout, getting the project off the ground was challenging. Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis purchased the film rights in the 90s and brought on Tarantino and Lawrence Bender to executive produce, so it initially had some traction. The script was reportedly written, and casting announcements came and went. An 8-minute test reel featuring Jessica Simpson was shot, but the project never entered production. Comic book fans collectively scratched their heads in confusion when Sony revealed it would adapt the Spider-Man villain El Muerto as a solo feature film starring Puerto Rican rapper and singer Bad Bunny in the...
Oh, thank God. This movie didn't get fucking made. Thank God. Thank God. What the fuck you mean, Bad Bunny? What? No. I had to see you in WWE. No. No. Stay the fuck away from the Marvel Universe, bro. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Lead role. El Muerto is a relatively new character, having been introduced in 2006, and he's not exactly well known.
This nigga just said El Muerto is a relatively new character. Came out in 2006. Almost 20 years ago. We are round up 5 months away from 2026. 20 years is not new. I guess he did use fairly new, but like 10 years is fairly new. 5 years you're basically new. 20? You're not fairly new.
Known. Sony owns the rights to some 900 Marvel characters, and it looked like they were scraping the bottom of the barrel by bringing the obscure luchador to the big screen. The film was in development in 2022 when Sony made the announcement, but it stalled due to Bad Bunny's schedule and a replacement was never found. Sony's Spider-Man-less Spider-Man universe movies haven't done well on the whole, so it's unsurprising that the studio walked away. Sony pulled El Muerto from its release schedule in June 2023.
Thank you.
Director Bryan Singer's X-Men and X2 helped usher in a new era of superhero films. When the third movie went into production, Singer wasn't attached, and the job fell to Brett Ratner to direct X-Men The Last Stand. Singer initially wanted to direct the threequel and wrote one-third of a treatment, but he left so he could helm Superman Returns. At San Diego Comic-Con in 2006, Singer was asked about the plot and explained that he would have introduced a new villain, and that the Phoenix was going to feature. Singer continued working with Marvel as producer on a number of X-Men movies, and ultimately returned to direct X-Men Days of Future Past and X-Men Apocalypse. It seems that some of his ideas for the third X-Men film found their way.
Oscar Isaac is 3 people. This nigga is Apocalypse, Moon Knight, and Spider-Man 2099.
Way into other movies.
If we don't fight now, everything they stood for will die with them. I'm not gonna let that happen.
Another unusual comic book adaptation.
Who the fuck is this, bro? Who the fuck is the fucking Hypno Hustler? I'm a boogeyman. That's what I am. I'm here to do whatever I can. And now you will only see me as a foe to be reckoned with. I'm not gonna be scared of a nigga named the Hypno Hustler, bro. If you're scared of a nigga named the Hypno Hustler, you need to go and do something with your life, bro. The Hypno Hustler? Oh, brother, give me a break. What the fuck was the movie gonna be about? Singing and dancing? Ooh. He gonna make me sing. He gonna make me dance. Ooh.
Developed at Sony involved a character few people knew existed, including longtime Spider-Man comic book fans. Hypno Hustler has been around since the age of disco, committing crimes by hypnotizing music lovers. While the character choice was odd, the casting wasn't, as Donald Glover signed on to produce and play the lead in 2022. Glover has an interesting relationship with Marvel, having been the inspiration for the creation of Miles Morales. He also appeared in Spider-Man Homecoming as Aaron Davis, and reprised the role in...
That's still Major Glaze, by the way. You created a character. You know, Major Glaze, not Donald Glover, whoever made him. And didn't this nigga retire?
Spider-Man
from like music or some shit.
Across the Spider-Verse in a live-action cameo. Unsurprisingly, though, the film's production fizzled out alongside Sony's other Spider-Man universe movies. A movie
Goodbye.
featuring the Inhumans was announced by Marvel.
Let's see. Serpent Society. I'm trying to think. Okay, so May 2016, November 2016, May 2017, July 2017, November 2017, May 2018, July 2018, November 29th, 2018. Yes, November 2018. I said November. I mean July 2018. November 20. I think I said November. I don't know, man. 'Cause I looked it over here. Interesting. So, what the fuck happened over there?
Studios in 2014 for release in November 2018. But it seems like a movie that Marvel Studios didn't really want to make. What happened? According to numerous reports, the film was announced during a power struggle between Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige and Marvel Entertainment chairman Ike Perlmutter, who at the time was still overseeing the work of Marvel Studios. If you believe what's been reported as Feige's side of things, then the executive also spent a lot of time getting in the company's way. Feige allegedly spent years butting heads with Perlmutter over a wide variety of issues, from budget cuts to hiring decisions. When he was still working as Feige's intermediary with Disney, Perlmutter reportedly pushed hard for an Inhumans film to serve as the MCU's answer to the X-Men, but it wasn't meant to be. After Perlmutter demanded that the expensive Robert Downey Jr. be written out of Captain America Civil War, Feige reportedly threatened to quit working for Marvel unless things changed. This apparently convinced Disney to let him and Marvel Studios report directly to them for filmmaking decisions, instead of having to go through Perlmutter and the wider Marvel Entertainment Company first. Once this creative freedom was secured, the Inhumans movie was canceled.
You should have known this day was coming.
While Marvel Studios no longer has to answer to Perlmutter, Marvel Television is a different story, which is why the Inhumans eventually ended up landing on ABC with a remarkably cheap-looking TV show, the worst reviewed project in the entire MCU. Before directing the two Ant-Man movies, Peyton Reed had plans to create a Fantastic Four film, developing his own pitch for the project in the early 2000s. According to an interview with Collider, the film was going to be set in the 60s and be tonally similar to the Beatles' film A Hard Day's Night. Notably, his take would have skipped the origin story, instead jumping straight into the action.
Yeah, just like the new one.
This is Dolce.
Sadly, Fox didn't have much faith in the project. According to Reed, it felt like they sort of wanted to make a B movie out of it, so we parted ways.
We shall mount a musical of the Fantastic Four.
The Silver Surfer is a cosmic entity who travels through space on a surfboard at the speed of light. That's already a pretty weird concept. So maybe it's not too surprising that the character almost took a left turn into the musical genre. According to Sean Howe's book Marvel Comics The Untold Story, Lee Kramer, executive producer for the movie Xanadu, expressed interest in making a Silver Surfer rock musical during the 1980s. Kramer said of the project, "We're going to make an epic picture on the scope of 2001: A Space Odyssey, with a kind of soundtrack that
Don't ever seen a Space Odyssey
film had, only using contemporary rock and roll. It's even conceivable that the Surfer might have a chant or a fanfare made up of 1,000 electric guitars." The film would have reportedly starred Olivia Newton-John, also fresh off of Xanadu, but she wasn't the only big name attached to the project. Paul McCartney was asked to contribute to the soundtrack, a more reasonable request than you might expect, considering that the ex-Beatle is an avowed Marvel fan who even wrote a song about Magneto and Titanium Man. Ultimately, the project fell through, and we wouldn't see the likes of Nora and Rad on the big screen until 2007's Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. After that exceedingly bland blockbuster, it's fair to ask, could the musical option have been any good? It's hard to say, but hey, it couldn't have been much worse than Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
I can't believe I really want to see that musical as a kid. Look, I was a kid and it was fucking Spider-Man, okay? What more did you need from me? Spider-Man.
Made famous by Scarlett Johansson's portrayal in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Black Widow has become a bigger fan favorite than ever before. But that won't be the first time that Marvel's tried to show audiences the backstory of this former spy.
We need you to come in.
Are you kidding? I'm working.
This takes precedence.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation. This moron is giving me everything.
Though many people know David Hayter as the voice of Solid Snake in the Metal Gear series, he's also had a successful career as a screenwriter. In a 2014 interview with Latino Review, Hayter revealed that he'd written a Black Widow script 10 years prior and was even attached to direct the project at one point. Hayter alleged that the poor performance of other action films starring women, in an era defined by flops like Elektra and Lara Croft Tomb Raider, was the...
Oh, there was actually an Elektra movie. Well, I mean, he did say it in that. Once again, I just don't know how certain movies fumble. How do you fucking fumble a Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie? Not once that I know of, but twice that I know of. And then they fucking fumbled on.
main factor that caused Marvel to get cold feet and shelve the project. Funny how things can change.
And then this scene was just so... Remove it! Remove it! Remove it!
Throughout the 80s and 90s, DC Comics and Warner Brothers saw plenty of success with Batman and Superman, while Marvel was having a tougher time. But that didn't deter one actor's aspirations of bringing one of the company's iconic heroes to the big screen for the first time. In the mid-90s, Wesley Snipes was coming off a string of successful movies and had a vision for his own superhero vehicle, an adaptation of Marvel's Black Panther comics. But the process proved more difficult than Snipes had anticipated. He later told The Hollywood Reporter, "Ultimately, we couldn't find the right combination of script and director, and also at the time, we were so far ahead of the game in the thinking, the technology wasn't there to do what they had already created in the comic book." In the end, Snipes and Marvel teamed up for a less ambitious project, Blade.
Jesus, that's him. Still never seen Blade 1, Blade 2, or Blade Trinity.
Blade, it's the Daywalker.
The 1998 film earned over $131 million, becoming Marvel's first real movie success. Black Panther, meanwhile, was still listed as an upcoming film as late as 2000, with Variety describing the project as a vehicle for, quote, a black Indiana Jones-style character to which Wesley Snipes has long been attached to produce and star.
Indiana Jones.
In 2008, writer Neil Gaiman told Premiere that he had been interested in creating a film centered around Doctor Strange. Gaiman approached director Guillermo del Toro with the concept, and according to Gaiman, he was interested. In an interview with Collider, Gaiman explained that while del Toro was on board, the film was likely around 4 years from entering production due to his busy schedule.
Time is the true enemy of us all.
What?
Time kills everything.
Regarding the project, Del Toro told Empire, "That's an interesting character because you can definitely make him more in the pulpy occult detective magician mold and formula than was done in the Weird Tales, for example. The idea of a character that really dabbles in the occult in a way that's not X-Filing, where the supernatural is taken for granted. That's interesting, but I wouldn't use the suit." Ultimately, Gaiman and Del Toro never got to make their version of Doctor Strange. Marvel wasn't interested in taking on the project, waiting to introduce the master of the mystic arts to movie audiences until Scott Derrickson's 2016 film starring Benedict Cumberbatch. In the early 90s, James Cameron convinced Carolco Pictures, who backed Terminator 2 Judgment Day, to option the film rights for Spider-Man. But after the company went under, the rights to Spider-Man were purchased by Sony, and Cameron moved on to other...
And it was one of the worst decisions in movie cinematic comic book history, because them niggas still have it.
Projects. Like Sam Raimi's 2002 feature, Cameron's Spider-Man would have been an origin story with key changes to the familiar comics lore. One notable creation from Cameron's camp was Peter Parker's organic web shooters, which would eventually and controversially show up in the trilogy that Sony made.
Is this stuff coming out of you?
Cameron's script was notably more adult-themed.
I still feel like it makes sense for him to, you know, shoot organic webs. Like, you got bit by a fucking spider. You shouldn't just get the power, you should get the abilities of a spider. You know, the senses, the landing on your feet, the webs. That's just my take, though. But God, it's not YouTube.
Than most takes on the web-slinger would end up being, featuring an abundance of profanity and sexuality, including a sex scene on the Brooklyn Bridge, and some truly distressing spider-themed foreplay.
Okay, I see why the movie was scrapped, because that nigga was horny. That's all it means.
After Blade and X-Men got the ball rolling, the next Marvel
Oh, we should have gotten the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4. Fuck.
Comic hero to take the world by storm was Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. The film was a huge success, earning more than $821 million. It sparked one sequel that remains beloved by fans, as well as another sequel that isn't.
WTF to that?
Despite the failures of the third Spider-Man, Raimi was ready to set the series right with a fourth. Rumors swirled that the follow-up would feature John Malkovich and Anne Hathaway as Vulture and Black Cat. But a satisfactory script never materialized, and the project left Raimi's grasp. As the filmmaker later explained, it really was the most amicable and undramatic of breakups. It was simply that we had a deadline, and I couldn't get the story to work on a level that I wanted it to work. After the first trilogy of X-Men films, Fox tried to shift the focus from team movies to individual origins, but the only mutant to actually get this treatment was Wolverine. Batman Begins writer David S. Goyer was slated to write and direct a follow-up focusing on Magneto, but when audiences actually saw how bad the Wolverine movie was, it effectively killed the brand in one shot.
Understandable. What the fuck is this?
Though the movie was never made, script drafts suggest a story that would have opened during Magneto's time as a prisoner in Auschwitz, following him through adulthood as he becomes something of a Nazi hunter before meeting Charles Xavier.
This is where your power was born. And this is where your people were slaughtered.
Elements of the story would eventually form the core of X-Men First Class and its follow-ups, but on the big screen at least, much of Magneto's story remains untold.
Well, that was an interesting load of movies. A lot of them I see why. A lot of them I do see why.
領域展開無料空所